No, as you said, I was born in 1937, right in the end of the Depression. Low-income family, youngest of 5 children. My dad was a veteran of the First World War and was injured and really died as a result of delayed trauma that he experienced, but he died when I was 9, leaving my mother with a 5th grade education and 5 children to raise. But in this community, it was a low-income, segregated community, all blue-collar people, but we had a loving community. And there were men who stepped up and became surrogate fathers to me. All of the children could read. The segregated schools at the 3rd grade plays were held at night so parents could attend. And on the back table, there were lunch pails. That's the level of community that we had in the midst of segregation in the North. And so it meant that growing up in a situation where you've got challenges within your family, you have to rely upon your community. And I did. There were civic organizations, the Elks. I could go on a list of organizations when father and son banquets, a man would come by from the lodge to pick me up and take me to a banquet. And so there was strong community at that time. And my friends were more, I understand gangs, because when you have a family like that, you must rely on your peers. And I did. And fortunately, I was blessed with having the kind of values from that community. I selected good friends. One of them, the public may know, he was Gordon on Sesame Street, Matt Robinson.
Wow.
He was the first black on Sesame Street.
Oh, wow. That's
he died a few years ago, and I presided at his funeral in Hollywood, but his daughter is Holly Robinson, the actress.
Wow.
Married to Rodney Peake. He was the only one who, But the point is that we had a really safe, secure community. I never heard a gun fired. Not all of us were poor. We had holes in our shoes, but everyone did. You just got a good piece of cardboard and cut it out, and put it in. But as a result of that, I grew up like that. My friends were a year older, and so they graduated from high school. And I quit school at 17 because you can't grow up in a neighborhood unaffiliated. So I went into the military at
that time, you couldn't grow unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated.
What were the gangs back then?
It wasn't really tough gangs, or you could walk out late at night without fear, but there were problems.
Got it.
There were challenges, and so I went into the military in 1954 to the Air Force. Where I confronted segregation in Mississippi, but the Air Force was a place that put this all together. And so I learned camaraderie. I heard my first Southern accent when I was 17. I thought blacks were a majority until I got to basic training. and my squadron was 80, and there was only 8 blacks. I said, wow, what's going on in this country? But it was a great experience. And I got out but what my mother did was radical that helped me understand. When I came home after a year, and I came from Florida. I was in the space program, and I spent my money that I was going to use to go home. And I went to my mother and said, "I need car fare home." She said, "You need to get back the best way you can." It took me 3 days to hitchhike 1,000 miles.
Wow.
But, I was angry at her for 2 months. But from that day forward, I said, whenever I go anywhere, I have to have the means to return. And it developed a very strong sense of knowing that my destiny is determined by what I do for me under those circumstances.
Now, was Mom like that with everybody, all 5 of you?
Yep.
And what did the other 4 end up doing?
They were blue-collar people. They all lived successul lives, had families, raised children. But
respect.
Again, they responded. We were in a community, but the pervasive values in this community had nothing to do with race. I keep telling people when whites were at their worst, we were at our best. And so, but I became active in the civil rights movement. But I challenged the civil rights movement. I left the movement on the issue of fourth busing for integration. I believe the opposite of segregation was desegregation, not integration.